In this video, I will show you how can you integrate ChatGPT inside Excel. So this we are going to do using script. So let's quickly go ahead and open Excel. So I'm on my Excel, and what you can do is you can click on Automate tab and then click on New Script. So once you will click on New Script, you will get the editor something like this. So this is the place where we are going to type our code. Okay, so like every other sample, this time also the first thing we need is API key and the endpoint. So let's quickly declare that. So we can do it using const, and I will create a variable name API key. So this thing I have already stored it in a worksheet which is named as my key. So inside my key, I'm putting that key at this location, which is B2, and that's what we are going to read over here. So if you want for demo purpose, definitely you can hard code it. So I will say workbook dot get worksheet, and inside that we need to pass the worksheet name which is holding our key. So for me it is my key. We'll say get range, and like I said, cell B1 where I am holding the exact value of my key, and we'll say get value. Okay, next thing we need is the endpoint where we are going to hit this request. So we'll say endpoint, and this endpoint you can directly grab it from the documentation. So let me quickly point you. So I'm on my OpenAI documentation, and here you can see this particular post request URL. So let's go ahead and paste it. And before that, let me define this as a string here. Okay. Now we are done with the basic stuff. Next thing is we need to provide it that which sheet we are going to use for all this purpose. So let's create another variable const, and I will name it ws, and it is like workbook dot get worksheet. So this worksheet is the one where I'm going to play with ChatGPT, and its name is query. So let's go here and do worksheet, and inside that we will pass query. You can name anything for your worksheet. I'm going with this one. Now we are done with this one. Next thing is we need to set up the model and what kind of prompt we are looking for. So let's create another variable model which is of type string, and here we will define our model. So I will go with text DaVinci 002. You can use text ada or whatever you want. This is just for the demo purpose. And then I'm defining my prompt, which is like here it would be string or boolean or number. So we need to define all these things here: string, boolean, as well as number. And then we are saying we are going to provide this prompt from the range B2, and we will say get value dot get value. Let me explain you here. So here I'm giving, on my query sheet, I'm giving enter question, and I'm expecting user to provide the question in this column, which is B2. That's the reason I'm saying my prompt needs to be read from the column B2. Now next thing is we need to make a post request. So for that we need to set up some parameters, and the very first one is header. So let's say const headers. Okay, headers, and here I will just instantiate the header class. Okay, then we need two things: content type and the authorization. So we'll say content type first. So all these things, if you're not sure from where I'm getting, I can quickly show you. It is already defined on the documentation. So this is how you need to create it. You need to provide this. Let me grab it. We can save some time. And then we need to provide authorizations, so where we will say bearer and our API key. Then we will be using these 4 parameters. So this is what I am typing over there. So content type, and let me paste it here. Okay, and the second thing we need to add is authorization. So authorization will be like bearer. So I will quickly say bearer, and inside this here we need, and here we will say API key, which we have just defined above. Okay, so we are done with this part. Next thing is we are going to create our body, like the 4 parameters which I have just shown you. So let's create another variable for body, and this is of the same type like I have mentioned here, string, bool, as well as number. Let's define it here, and here we will be saying using JSON dot stringify. So in this we will be passing all the values which we are looking for. So model, we will say our model is the one which we define in line number 7. Our prompt is the one which we have defined in, sorry, I need to make colon here, and the prompt is the one which we just defined above. Then next parameter was max number of tokens, so which I will just go with 350 as of now. And then we need the temperature, so let's give that here, RETURE, and it depends, like if you want the same value every time, then give it 0, otherwise you can change this value to 0.3, 0.4 or whatever you want. Okay, we are done with this. Let's put semicolon, and next thing we need to make a call. So for that we will create a variable response, which is going to hold our response object here, and we'll say await fetch, which is used for making a call endpoint. And this endpoint, next thing we need to pass is all the parameters we just constructed above. So the first parameter here would be the method, and here method is nothing but the post call. Then we need to define headers, so it is the same variable which we created above, and then comes the body. So let me do it. Okay, so here it is complaining that function has to be async, so let's create that function as async first,ync. So you can see that error is gone. Next thing is we need to parse the response which we are getting in this particular variable. So parsing is like, I can again show you what would be the result. So you can see that this is the output which we will get. So we need to actually read this particular value here, which falls under the choices. So let's go ahead and code this thing. So I'm going to create another variable, const JSON response, wherein we will be just extracting the JSON out of it. And let me give choices, and inside this we will say text, which is of type same like string, bool, number. And okay, once it is done, let's provide this empty one and the curly brace. Then we will say await response, sorry, it's response, which is the variable which we created above, and we will say JSON. Okay, so perhaps I did some mistake here. It should be square bracket. Okay, once this is done, we need to set this particular output to the cell which is next to our B2. So that's the only thing which is remaining here. So let's create a variable again, const output get range, and let's place our output in the cell B4, and we will say output dot set value, and inside that we will read the JSON response we just created above, and inside this you want the first value of text which is falling under choices. Let me quickly do this. So I believe we are done. Let's go ahead and type some question here. So I would say, which is the longest river? And let's run the script. So the script is running. Oops, so we did some mistake, cannot read line number 31. So here JSON response choices 0 text. Perhaps we missed something here. Let me save the script first. Script is saved and run it. I don't think there is a, let me try to rerun it. Let me save the script first. Oh, it worked. So we asked the question, which is the longest river, and this is the response which we received from ChatGPT. So you can put your questions here and you will get a response in the cell which is mentioned here. So B4 we have mentioned, so that's why we are getting in B4. So I hope you enjoyed this short utility, and thanks for watching.